Seoul wakes in gray. Rain taps against glass towers like 1,000 whispered warnings. The city stretches below, endless, glittering, cold. Dawn hasn't broken yet, but the lights never really die here. They just dim, waiting. Jaehoon Lee stands at the window of his corner office, 43 floors above the world. His reflection stares back. Sharp jaw, darker eyes, a face that's been on magazine covers and billboards. Perfect, polished, empty. His phone buzzes. Another message from his mother. Another arranged date he'd canceled without explanation. Mrs. Park was educated, graceful, from the right family with the right connections. She was also forgettable. They all were. Polite smiles that never reached their eyes. Careful words that said nothing real. Practiced gestures that felt like auditions rather than attraction. Behind him, his assistant enters without knocking. The only person allowed such liberties. You canceled again. Jaehoon doesn't turn from the window. The rain streaks down in rivers, merging and breaking apart like relationships he'll never have. I had work. You always have work. His assistant's voice carries a gentleness that makes the observation sting worse. You're married to this place, Jaehoon. Everyone knows it. The words settle between them like dust. Jaehoon watches his reflection in the glass. CEO, billionaire, Seoul's most eligible bachelor. All true, all meaningless. Behind the accolades and the magazine spreads, behind the 3 billion won empire, there's just a man who can't remember the last time he felt anything real. That's why the company's worth what it is. He says finally. His assistant sighs. And what are you worth? The question hangs unanswered as Seoul pulses below, indifferent to the emptiness of the man who owns so much of it. Across the city, in a cramped cafe that smells like roasted beans and ambition, Amara Johnson checks her phone for the 5th time. First day. New country. New company. New chance to prove herself. Again. She's done this dance before. New York, London, Lagos. Every boardroom the same story. Men in tailored suits, women with painted smiles, and her, the outsider who had to be twice as good to get half the respect. But Seoul feels different. Sharper. Somehow, even the rain here sounds like it has an accent. She catches her reflection in the cafe window. Dark skin glowing against the gray morning. Hair natural, coiled, unapologetic. Red lipstick, her armor. Her phone buzzes with a welcome message. Orientation begins at 9 a.m. Do not be late. She finishes her coffee, too sweet, the way she likes it, and steps into the rain without an umbrella. Let them see her walking drenched. Let them remember her entrance. Let them know from the first moment that she doesn't play by their rules of careful invisibility. The meeting room is all white marble and frosted glass. Cold, clinical, a space designed to intimidate. Amara sits near the middle, notebook open, pen ready. Around her, employees murmur in Korean. She catches fragments, understands some, pretends she understands less. It's always safer that way. Let them think you don't hear their assumptions. Then the door opens and the room falls silent. Jaehoon Lee enters like winter itself. Crisp suit, unhurried stride, eyes that scan the room and dismiss it in the same breath. He doesn't smile, doesn't need to. His presence is command enough. He moves through the presentation with surgical precision. Market projections, competitor analysis, expansion strategies. Every word measured like currency. Every pause calculated for impact. Around Amara, heads nod in synchronized agreement. No one dares interrupt the rhythm of his control until she raises her hand. The air shifts. Heads turn. Jaehoon pauses mid-sentence, his gaze finding her across the room. For a moment, he doesn't speak, just looks, calculating. Your market analysis of the African diaspora, it's outdated. The words land like stones in still water. Silence ripples outward. Someone gasps. Amara doesn't flinch. She's learned that the only way to survive rooms like this is to speak with the confidence of someone who belongs, even when every face tells you otherwise. Jehun's jaw tightens, barely visible, but she sees it, the muscle jumping beneath that perfect control. He steps closer, each footfall deliberate, closing the distance until the air between them crackles with something electric and dangerous. Outdated, he repeats. Not a question. A challenge wrapped in silk. Your data is from 2022. Consumer behavior shifted drastically post-pandemic, especially in digital engagement. If you're targeting that demographic with old information, you're aiming at ghosts. The room holds its breath. This isn't how things work at Lee Enterprises. No one contradicts Ji-Hun Lee. No one challenges a man who built this empire from inheritance into dominance. The rules are clear. Listen, nod, obey. But Amara never learned to follow rules that weren't hers. His eyes narrow, studying her face like she's a puzzle he needs to solve. And you have better data? I have current data. There's a difference between knowing what was and understanding what is. 4-3 heartbeats. They stand locked in silent combat. The rest of the room disappears. It's just him and her, and the question hanging between them. Who will break first? Send to my office by noon. He says, finally, I'll have it to you by 11. His eyes flash, not anger, something else. Something that might be respect or irritation, or the first crack in that impenetrable control. He holds her gaze for 1 second too long, then continues his presentation as if nothing happened. But something did. Amara feels it in the way of his attention, even as he addresses others, in the way his words seem aimed at the room but land on her skin, in the silence that follows when she gathers her things to leave. As she reaches the door, his voice stops her. Miss Johnson. She turns. He's still at the front of the room, arms crossed, expression carved from marble. No one speaks to me like that. The threat hangs unspoken. She could apologize, smooth it over, play it safe. Instead, she smiles, small, knowing, unafraid. Then maybe someone should have started sooner. And she walks out, leaving him standing there in the cold white room, watching her disappear into the corridor like smoke he can't quite catch. Alone, Ji-Hun stares at the empty doorway. His hands are steady, but something in his chest isn't. For the first time in years, someone looked at him and didn't see the title or the empire or the carefully constructed image. They saw through it, through him, and it terrified him more than he'd ever admit. Before we dive into what happens next between Ji-Hun and Amara, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell. This story's only getting started. 3 days pass in careful distance. Ji-Hun watches Amara from the corners of his awareness. The way she moves through the office with quiet confidence, speaking Korean with a slight accent that somehow makes her words more memorable. How she commands respect without demanding it, earning what others chase desperately and never find. On the 4th day, he assigns her to Project Phoenix. The file lands on her desk with a soft thud. She opens it to find 3 weeks of impossible deadlines staring back. A failing subsidiary needs complete rebranding, market research, creative strategy, full execution. Most people would need 3 months. The last 3 managers assigned to Phoenix quit before finishing. Amara reads through it once, then closes the folder and gets to work. She doesn't ask for help, doesn't complain about the timeline. She simply buries herself in the data, like it's a language only she can speak. Late nights, early mornings, coffee turning cold beside stacks of reports. She digs through consumer behavior, interviews focus groups, maps cultural intersections most marketers ignore. Korean aesthetics, African storytelling, American directness. What if they weren't separate markets? What if they were mirrors, reflecting different aspects of the same human hunger, to be seen, understood, valued? She builds a campaign around that truth, weaving together threads that shouldn't fit, but somehow do. Bold, risky, beautiful. The presentation day arrives cold and bright. Amara stands at the front of the conference room, facing the same executives who'd watched her challenge Jehun weeks ago. Now they study her with sharper interest, wondering if the bold woman who spoke out of turn can actually deliver. She walks them through the campaign beat by beat, market analysis backed by numbers they can't dispute, creative execution that marries cultures without diluting either, projected ROI that makes even the skeptics lean forward. Her voice is steady, professional, giving nothing away about the sleepless nights and self-doubt that got her here. Jehun sits at the head of the table, expression carved from stone. He hasn't spoken since she began, just watched, listened. His silence is its own kind of pressure, heavy enough to crush if she let it. When she finishes, the room exhales collectively. Questions come. She answers with precision. Doubts surface. She dismantles them with data. By the end, even the most resistant board members are nodding. The chairman speaks first. Exceptional work, Miss Johnson. This could be exactly what we need. Amara allows herself a small breath of relief. Mr. Lee, your thoughts? Everyone turns to Jehun. He leans forward, fingers steepled, gaze finally finding hers across the polished table. For a heartbeat, the world narrows to just them. It's brilliant, he says quietly. Implement it immediately. The word should feel like victory. Instead, something tightens in Amara's chest. There's weight in his tone, in the way his eyes linger on her face, like he's trying to read something written in a language he doesn't quite know. Thank you, sir. Sir, not Jehun. The formality is deliberate, necessary. A line drawn between what could be and what should be. The meeting ends in congratulations and handshakes. Amara accepts them with grace, with smiles that don't quite reach her eyes. When the room finally empties, she gathers her materials slowly, aware that he's still there, still watching. Amara, she pauses, back to him, hand on the door. The use of her first name sends heat crawling up her spine. We need to talk. There's nothing to talk about, Mr. Lee. Friday night was a mistake. She turns now, face carefully neutral. We both got caught up in something that doesn't exist. It's better this way. That's not what I'm here to work. That's all. The words come out harsher than intended, but she needs the distance, needs the walls, because if she lets them crumble, if she acknowledges what flickered between them in the rain-soaked dark, everything she's built will come crashing down. His jaw works, throat tight with words he doesn't say. Finally, he nods once. Stiff, formal, of course. Professional boundaries. Exactly. She leaves him standing there, surrounded by the evidence of her brilliance, feeling like he's lost something he never had the right to keep. Late one Thursday, the sky breaks open. Thunder rolls across Seoul like a growl. Rain hammers the windows hard enough to blur the city into abstract impressions of light and movement. The office empties early, everyone fleeing before the storm worsens, except two people. Amar's at her desk, surrounded by mock-ups and market projections, so focused she doesn't hear him approach until his shadow falls across her papers. She looks up. Jehun stands in her doorway, jacket off, tie loosened. For the first time since that first meeting, he looks human, tired, real. You're still here. It's not a question, but she answers anyway. So are you. I have an excuse. I own the building. I have a deadline. Of course you do. Thunder cracks. The lights flicker, then steady. In the dimness, the office feels smaller, more intimate, the space between them charged with everything they're not saying. He steps inside, hands in pockets, trying to look casual and failing. How's the campaign? Ahead of schedule. Naturally. Almost a smile. You don't do anything halfway, do you? Can't afford to. The honesty slips out before she can stop it. He catches it, studies her with those two perceptive eyes. You think I'd judge you for working hard? I think you'd notice if I didn't work twice as hard as everyone else just to be seen as equal. The words hang between them, sharp and true. He flinches slightly, barely visible, but she sees it. The recognition of a privilege he's never had to think about. You're right, he says quietly. I would notice, but not for the reasons you think. Then why? He moves closer, close enough that she can smell cedar and rain on his skin. Because I can't stop noticing you, and it's driving me insane. Her breath catches. This is dangerous territory. Quicksand disguised as solid ground. Don't, she whispers. Don't what? Tell the truth? Pretend I don't see you every time I close my eyes? That I don't hear your voice in every empty room. Jehun, you were right that first day. I hide behind control because it's the only thing I know. But with you, he stops, jaw working. With you, I don't want to hide. Thunder again. Closer now. The lights flicker once more, and in the darkness that follows, just a heartbeat long, she sees everything he's trying to say written across his face. Vulnerability, want, fear. Then the lights return, and so does his mask. Almost. You should go home, he says, voice rough. The storm's getting worse. She should run before she does something reckless. But her legs won't move, and her heart is pounding a rhythm that sounds dangerously like his name. So should you. I will. They both know he's lying. Amara reaches for her bag, and as she does, papers scatter across the floor in a sudden gust from the AC vent. They both bend to gather them, hands moving in synchronized chaos. Then their fingers brush. Static, not from the storm. They freeze, hands hovering over the same document, close enough to feel heat, but not close enough to call it contact. The air between them throbs with everything unsaid, with every careful boundary they built threatening to crumble. Her eyes meet his. Dark, dangerous, desperate. I could say the same, he murmurs, voice barely audible over the rain. About the working too hard. The words are innocuous. The tone is anything but. She pulls her hand back first, breaks the spell, stands quickly, clutching papers like armor. Good night, Mr. Lee. Jehun. The correction comes soft but firm. When it's just us, call me Jehun. She doesn't answer. Can't. Just looks at him. Really looks. And something in her chest tightens dangerously. Then she's gone. Footsteps echoing down the empty corridor, leaving him crouched on the floor, paper scattered around him like evidence of a crime he hasn't committed yet, but wants to. God help him, he wants to. If you're enjoying this tension, hit that like button, because what's coming next will melt souls cold to see. The gala is all champagne and crystal, power wrapped in designer silk. Lee Enterprises hosts it annually, a showcase of influence, a ritual where Korea's elites circle each other like sharks in Prada and Tom Ford. Politicians, investors, celebrities, everyone who matters in Seoul glitters under the chandeliers, trading secrets disguised as small talk. Jehun arrives fashionably late, alone as always. Cameras flash. People bow with practiced deference. He nods, smiles his public smile, the one that doesn't reach his eyes, and feels nothing. It's all performance, and he's been playing this role so long he can't remember who he was before the costume became permanent, until he sees her. Amara stands near the entrance, and the entire room seems to tilt on its axis. She's wearing black satin that catches light like water, simple and elegant and devastating. Her hair is up, neck exposed, and when she laughs at something a colleague says, the sound cuts through the orchestral music like a bell. Heads turn to follow her. Whispers ripple outward like stones dropped in still water. Who is she? The new strategist. American? Nigerian, I heard. She's the one who challenged him in that meeting. Jehun's jaw tightens. He shouldn't care about the whispers. He doesn't, but his feet carry him across the room anyway, drawn by gravity he can't name or resist. Miss Johnson. She turns, champagne glass paws halfway to her lips. Her eyes find his, and for a second the gala disappears. Just them and the weight of everything they're not saying. Mr. Lee. Jehun, he corrects quietly, stepping closer. Close enough to catch her perfume. Something warm and smoky like bourbon and vanilla. She smiles, but it doesn't reach her eyes. We're not alone. No, he agrees. We're not. His publicist appears at his elbow, camera-ready smile locked in place. Sir, we need a few photos for press. Company leadership, diversity initiative. Amar's expression flickers. Barely, but he sees it. The flash of something that might be disappointment or resignation or anger. So carefully controlled it looks like calm. Of course, she says smoothly. For the initiative, the words land like a slap. He wants to explain that it's not like that she's not a prop in his company's image campaign. But the cameras are already positioning, and his publicist is gesturing them together with professional efficiency. They pose. His hand hovers near her waist. Proper, professional distance maintained. The cameras love it. Perfect optics. She keeps smiling. He keeps his face neutral. The mask he wears so well it might as well be his real face. When the flashes stop, she steps away immediately. Enjoy your evening. Wait. But his board chairman intercepts him, launching into talk of quarterly reports and expansion plans. Jehun nods, responds, performs his role with practiced ease, all while watching her drift back into the crowd, swallowed by a sea of people who see her as either a curiosity or a threat, never as simply herself. An hour later, his publicist corners him again with another request. One more photo, this time a dance for the Seoul Times. Excellent optics to show the CEO connecting with diverse staff. This isn't about optics. The words come out sharper than intended. His publicist blinks, momentarily thrown. Jehun forces his voice softer. Fine. One dance. He finds Amara on the balcony, staring out at the rain-slicked city. She's alone, shoulders tense despite the warmth of the night. The isolation around her feels deliberate, like she's built it purposefully to keep the gala's hollow glamour at bay. They want us to dance. She doesn't turn. Of course they do. We don't have to. It's fine. She faces him now, expression unreadable. It's just a dance, right? For the cameras. Amara, that's the first time you've used my name. He stops. She's right. And the realization hits him like a physical thing. How careful he's been, how controlled. Putting distance between them with titles and formality when what he really wants is to close every gap. They return to the ballroom. The orchestra shifts to something slower, more intimate, something that feels dangerous. He takes her hand, properly this time, palm to palm, and leads her to the floor. The moment they begin moving, everything changes. She fits against him perfectly. Too perfectly. Her hand on his shoulder, his on her waist. Barely any distance between them. They sway, and he can feel her warm through the thin barrier of fabric. Can smell her perfume mix it with his cologne, creating something new, something that exists only in the space between them. Around them, people watch. Some curious, some envious, some scandalized. He doesn't care. For once, the whole city can stare, and it means nothing. You're good at this, she murmurs. Lessons. Years of them. Of course. Can't have the CEO embarrassing himself. It wasn't about embarrassment. It was about control. She tilts her head, studying him with those eyes that see too much. Everything with you is about control, isn't it? He should deflect, should say something smooth and meaningless that preserves the distance. Instead, honesty slips out before he can stop it. Yes. The admission surprises them both. Her eyes widen slightly, and he feels her hand tighten on his shoulder. They dance in silence for a moment, the music washing over them like waves. Can I ask you something? Her voice is soft now, almost gentle. You'll ask anyway. Why do you do this? The company, the image, the perfect life that looks like a magazine cover but feels like a cage. The question cuts deeper than any challenge she's thrown at him in boardrooms. Because she's not asking about business strategy or market analysis. She's asking about the man beneath the title. And no one's done that in so long, he almost forgot he existed. Because everyone wants a brand, he says quietly, the words pull from somewhere deep and true, not the man. Then stop hiding behind it. The words hit like a punch. He misses a step, actually stumbles. She steadies him, hand tightening on his shoulder, and the touch feels more intimate than anything he's experienced in years. I'm not. You are. You're terrified that if people see the real you, they'll leave, so you give them this. She gestures vaguely at the ballroom, at him, at everything he's built. Perfect, untouchable, alone. His throat tightens. Around them, the music swells, but all he can hear is her voice stripping away every defense he spent decades building. You don't know anything about me. I know you work until 3 a.m. because going home means facing the quiet. I know you throw yourself into impossible projects because success is easier than vulnerability. I know. Stop. That you're exhausted, that you're lonely, that somewhere beneath all this control, there's a man who just wants to be seen. The music ends. Applause ripples through the ballroom like an afterthought. They stand frozen, hands still connected, hearts beating too fast, the truth hanging between them like something fragile and dangerous. Then his phone buzzes. A reminder. Family dinner tomorrow, 8 p.m. Mother expecting you. The spell breaks. He steps back, letting her hand slip from his. Thank you for the dance. Jehun. Enjoy the rest of your evening, Miss Johnson. The formality is a door slamming shut. He walks away before she can respond, before he says something he can't take back, before the whole room sees a crack spreading across his carefully constructed mask. Amara watches him disappear into the crowd, and for the first time since arriving in Seoul, she feels the weight of this place, this country, this man, the impossibility of what's building between them. Outside, the rain starts again. Amara stands under the building's overhang, waiting for a taxi that won't come. The city blurs to the downpour, lights smearing, sounds muffled, everything soft and indistinct like a watercolor painting left in the rain. You'll be waiting hours. She turns. Jehun stands in the rain, no umbrella, suit jacket already darkening with wet. His hair is plastered to his forehead, and for the first time all night, he looks completely, devastatingly real. What are you doing? I don't know. The confession is raw, unguarded. Everything his public persona isn't. She steps into the rain, closing the distance between them. Water streams down her face, ruining her makeup, but she doesn't care. Yes, you do. You think you have me figured out. I think you have yourself figured out, and you're terrified of what that means. What does it mean? That you're human, that you want things, that you push everyone away and call it strength when really she stops rain streaming between them. It's just fear. He should be angry. Should put her in her place with that CEO voice that makes boardrooms fall silent. Instead, he laughs, quietly, bitterly, a sound like surrender. "You're right," he says. "I am terrified." "Of what?" "This." He gestures between them. "You, what you make me feel." The rain pounds harder. Lightning cracks the sky, illuminating his face in sharp relief. In that flash of light, she sees everything. The loneliness, the hunger, the desperate hope he's trying so hard to control. Amara turns to leave. She has to. This is dangerous, and she knows it. Knows that staying means crossing a line neither of them can uncross. But then his voice stops her. "Don't go." 2 words, barely audible over the rain. She looks back. He's standing there, drenched, mask completely gone, and for the first time since they met, she sees him. Not the CEO, not the brand, just a man. Lonely, afraid, hoping. "Give me one reason to stay," she whispers. He opens his mouth, closes it. Every practice line, every smooth response, dies on his tongue. Finally, the truth comes out raw and simple. "I don't have one, except..." He pauses, throat working. "I don't want you to." It's the most honest thing he's ever said, the most vulnerable he's ever been. And it terrifies him more than any business deal or board meeting ever could. Amara stands there, rain-soaked, heart-pounding, facing a choice she didn't plan for. She could stay, could give in to what's building between them, could let this impossible thing grow into something that might destroy them both. Or she could walk away, protect herself, protect him, save them both from the inevitable collision of his world and hers. She turns and walks away, not because she doesn't feel it, but because she does. And she knows one of them has to be strong enough to stop this before it destroys them both. Jihun watches her go, doesn't chase, doesn't call out again, just stands in the rain, alone, wondering when he became the kind of man who begs, wondering if he'll ever stop seeing her face in every empty room, wondering if he just let the only real thing in his life disappear into soul's endless night. Around him, the rain falls, the city glitters, and somewhere in the space between what is and what could be, something breaks that he doesn't know how to fix. Episode 2 is about to take their story deeper. Make sure to subscribe. You won't believe what happens after that night. Monday morning comes too bright, too sharp. Jihun sits in his office, staring at reports he can't focus on. Every number blurs into meaningless shapes. Every projection means nothing. All he sees is her walking away, rain in her hair, the shape of her silhouette disappearing into the storm. "I don't want you to." The words haunt him. Too honest, too raw, too much of the truth he spent his whole life hiding. His intercom buzzes, yanking him back to reality. "Sir, the Phoenix campaign presentation is in 10 minutes. "Right. Amara's campaign. The one that's already generating buzz in the industry. The one that proves she's everything he knew she was. Brilliant, fearless, unstoppable. He straightens his tie, rebuilds his mask brick by careful brick, and prepares to face her like nothing happened. Like he didn't stand in the rain begging her to stay. Like his chest doesn't ache every time he thinks about the way she looked at him before turning away. The presentation is flawless. Amara walks the board through every detail with the precision of a surgeon. Market analysis backed by numbers that can't be disputed. Creative execution that marries disparate cultures without diluting either. Projected ROI that makes even the most skeptical members lean forward with interest. Her voice is steady, professional, giving nothing away about the sleepless weekend she spent replaying every word, every touch, every moment of that rain-soaked night. She doesn't look at him once. Not when she explains the demographic targeting. Not when she presents the creative mock-ups. Not even when the board erupts in quiet murmurs of approval. She presents to everyone except the one person whose opinion carved itself into her bones. The board is impressed. They ask questions. She answers with precision that leaves no room for doubt. By the end, even the most resistant members are nodding with something like respect. "Exceptional work, Miss Johnson," the chairman says, and the words should feel like victory. This could be exactly what we need to turn that subsidiary around. "Thank you, sir." "Mr. Lee, your thoughts?" Everyone turns to Jehun. He's been silent the entire presentation, a statue carved from ice and expensive fabric. Now he leans forward, fingers steepled, eyes finally finding hers across the polished table. For a heartbeat, the world narrows. Just them and the weight of everything unsaid. "It's brilliant," he says quietly. "Implemented immediately." Something flickers in her expression. Relief, disappointment, he can't tell. The professional mask she wears is as perfect as his own. "Thank you, sir." "Sir," not Jehun. The formality cuts deeper than any blade. The meeting ends in congratulations and approving nods. Amar accepts them with grace, with smiles that don't quite reach her eyes. She gathers her materials carefully, taking her time, and when the room finally empties, she can feel him still there, still watching. "Amara," the sound of her name in his voice sends heat crawling up her spine despite every wall she's built. She pauses, back to him, hand on the door. "Yes." "We need to talk." "There's nothing to talk about. Friday night was a mistake." She turns now, face carefully composed. "We both got caught up in something that doesn't exist. You were right to let me walk away." "That's not. I'm here to work, Mr. Lee. That's all. That's all this can be." The words taste like ash, but she needs them, needs a distance. Because if she acknowledges what sparked between them in that rain-soaked moment, everything she's worked for will crumble. His jaw works, throat tight with words he's swallowing. Finally, he nods once. Stiff. Final. "Of course. Professional boundaries. My apologies for any confusion." "There's no confusion. We're clear." She leaves him standing there, surrounded by the evidence of her brilliance, and he's never felt more like he's lost something he never had the right to keep. 3 days pass in careful avoidance. Jehun throws himself into work with almost violent intensity. Meetings back to back, deals that need closing, strategies that demand his attention. He's everywhere and nowhere, moving through his empire like a ghost in his own life. But every evening, he finds himself looking for her. In the hallways, the elevator, the parking garage. His eyes search without permission, his body drawn to her presence like compass finding north. She's never there when he looks. His assistant notices, because of course she does. "You're distracted." "I'm fine." "You're not." And everyone can see it. He doesn't respond. Can't. Because admitting it makes it real. And if it's real, he has to do something about it. And he doesn't know how. That night, he stays late again. The office is empty, the city dark except for scattered lights. He stands at his window watching Seoul breathe below, and his phone buzzes with a reminder. Engagement meeting scheduled Saturday. Don't be late. Mother, right. The arrangement. The perfect match his family's been orchestrating since he took over the company. A merger disguised as marriage. A strategic alliance wrapped in wedding silk. He should confirm. Should play his role in the careful choreography his mother has planned for his entire life. Instead, he pockets the phone and walks out. He finds her on the rooftop. The same rooftop where smoking breaks happen and stressed employees come to breathe. She's standing at the edge, not dangerously close, but close enough. The wind whips her coat, her hair. She stares at the city like she's trying to memorize it or say goodbye to it. Maybe both. You keep showing up where I am, she says without turning. Or maybe you're where I need to be. She faces him then, and in the dim light, he can see exhaustion written across her features, dark circles beneath her eyes, tension in her shoulders that speaks of sleepless nights spent running from the same thing he's chasing. What are you doing here, Jehun? The use of his first name sends electricity down his spine. I could ask you the same. Thinking. About? Leaving. The word stops his heart. Just stops it cold in his chest like someone reached in and squeezed. Your contract has a termination clause. 3 months' notice. I've been here too. Why? She laughs, but there's no humor in it. Just exhaustion and something that sounds like grief. You really don't know? Tell me. Because I can't do this. She gestures between them, the movement sharp and frustrated. This thing we're pretending doesn't exist. This tension that makes every meeting feel like warfare and every silence feel like confession. I came here to build something. Instead, I'm spending every day trying not to feel what I feel. So you'll just leave? What else is there? Stay. For what? Her voice rises, passion breaking through the careful control. For stolen moments on rooftops? For dances that mean nothing? For they meant something. The words hang between them. Electric and dangerous. Truth stripped bare. She stares at him, and he watches her walls crumble in real time. Watches the moment when exhaustion and longing and fear all collide into something she can't hide anymore. You have an engagement meeting, she says quietly. Your assistant mentioned it. I'm not going. You have to. Your family, your company. Your entire life depends on maintaining that world. On marrying the right person from the right family with the right connections. I don't care. Yes, you do. Her voice is gentle now, almost pitying. You're Jehun Lee, the perfect son, the perfect CEO. You built your entire existence on control and expectation and playing your role flawlessly. Maybe I'm tired of it. Maybe it doesn't change reality. He steps closer, close enough that she has to tilt her head to meet his eyes, close enough that rain beginning to fall lands on both their faces. You challenged me that first day. Do you remember? Of course. Everyone was terrified, but you just spoke, like my opinion wasn't fact, like I wasn't untouchable, like I was just a man who could be wrong. He pauses, something vulnerable breaking through his voice. Do you know how long it's been since someone saw me as just a man? Jehun. Years, Amara. Years of being a title, a brand, a name on a building. And then you walked in and... He trails off, searching for words that don't exist in any language he knows. And what? You made me feel real again. Like I existed outside this cage I built. Like maybe underneath all the control and the performance, there's still a person worth knowing. The confession breaks something in her. He sees in her eyes, the walls crumbling, the truth rising, the same desperate longing he feels reflected back at him. I can't be with someone who won't fight for me, she whispers. He smiles then, sad and soft and more honest than any expression he's worn in years. Then watch me fight. The space between them disappears. Not suddenly, slowly, like gravity finally winning a war it's been waging since the moment they met. His hand rises to her cheek. Her breath catches. His thumb traces a line of rain down her jaw, and she leans into the touch like she's been starving for it. This is a terrible idea, she breathes. I know. It'll ruin everything. I know. Then why? He kisses her, slow, reluctant, electric, like admitting defeat and claiming victory in the same breath, her hands fist in his shirt, pulling him closer even as her mind screams to push away. His other hand finds her waist, fingers pressing through wet fabric, anchoring her against him like she might disappear if he doesn't hold on. The kiss deepens, desperate, like drowning and breathing at once. Like every conversation they've had was just preamble to this moment of absolute honesty. Power and vulnerability intertwined so completely he can't tell where his need ends and hers begins. When they finally break apart, both are shaking. Rain streams down their faces, mixing with something that might be tears. "I have to go to that meeting," he whispers against her forehead. "I know. My mother will disown me if I don't. I know. The board will. Jihun." She pulls back, hands framing his face. "I'm not asking you to choose." "Then what are you asking?" "To be real with me, just once. To stop performing and just be." His phone buzzes in his pocket. A reminder. The future calling him back to the life he's supposed to live. He looks at the screen, then at her. Soul glitters below them, endless and unforgiving. His entire world spread out like a map he's supposed to follow. And in that moment, standing on a rooftop in the rain with a woman who sees through every wall he's built, Jihun Lee makes a choice. He turns off his phone. "Stay," he says. "Tonight, just stay." She should say no, should be the strong one, should protect them both from the inevitable collision of his world and hers. But she's tired too, tired of fighting what she feels. So she takes his hand, and they stand there, rain-soaked and reckless, knowing tomorrow will bring consequences they can't avoid. But tonight, they choose each other over everything else, over duty and expectation, and the careful choreography of lives they're supposed to live. In the morning, there will be hell to pay. His mother will rage. The board will question. Society will judge. But for now, in this moment suspended between what is and what could be, they're just two people choosing honesty over performance, choosing each other over empires. And somehow, in the rain-soaked dark of Seoul's midnight sky, that feels like enough. Things just got complicated. Who do you think will walk away first? Tell us in the comments. Morning comes cold and unforgiving. Jihun wakes in his apartment, alone as they'd agreed. They'd talked for hours on that rooftop, then parted ways before dawn with no promises, no illusions, just truth, raw and unvarnished. Now he sits at his kitchen table, phone off, watching the city wake up through floor-to-ceiling windows. Seoul stretches below in shades of gray and gold, beautiful and indifferent to the small rebellions happening in its towers. He should go to that meeting, should apologize to his mother, smooth things over with carefully chosen words, play his role in the dynasty she'd been building since before he was born. But when he finally turns on his phone and sees 17 missed calls, when his inbox explodes with increasingly urgent messages, when his mother's assistant sends a text that simply reads, "She's furious," he knows. He's already made his choice. The scandal breaks by noon. Headlines crawl across news sites like wildfire. Lee Enterprises CEO cancels arranged engagement. Business blogs speculate about instability. Gossip sites hint at mystery women and secret affairs. His phone rings constantly. Board members, investors, reporters hungry for blood. Through it all, one thought circles his mind like a mantra. Is she worth this? He doesn't have to think long. Yes. God help him. Yes. Amara sees the news in her apartment. Coffee going cold in her hands. Her phone rings. Her manager at the company, voice tight with something between concern and accusation. The whispers have already started. Foreign woman. Outsider. The one who corrupted Seoul's perfect CEO. She should resign. Should leave before the scandal destroys what's left of her reputation. should protect herself from the inevitable backlash that comes when you dare to reach above your station. But when she thinks about walking away from him, the thought feels like dying. The emergency board meeting is brutal. Jehun sits at the head of the table, taking every accusation, every criticism, every thinly veiled threat with the same calm expression he perfected over decades of control. You've embarrassed this company, jeopardized our investors, your family's legacy. He lets them rage until the words run out. Then he stands, hands pressed flat against the polished wood, and speaks with quiet certainty. I understand your concerns. I do, but I've given this company everything. My 20s, my 30s, every relationship, every moment of peace, every chance at real happiness. I've been the son you wanted, the CEO you needed, the face you put on magazines and billboards. And now, the chairman's voice is ice. Now I choose differently. Silence falls heavy. If you pursue this, whatever this is, with that woman, the chairman continues slowly. There will be consequences. I know your position could be at risk. I know that too. Then what will you do? Jehun looks out at Seoul glittering below. His empire, his cage, all he's ever known. Then he thinks of her standing in the rain, telling him to be real. I'll build something better, he says quietly, even if I have to do it alone. Even if it means starting over with nothing, because at least it'll be mine. At least it'll be real. He finds her at the train station. She's standing on the platform, suitcase at her feet, ticket clutched in one hand. The departure board blinks overhead. New York, 6:30 p.m. You're leaving. She turns and her eyes are red. I have to. Why? Because I won't be the reason you lose everything you've built. You're not the reason. I am. My choice. Jehun, you said I hide behind my title. You were right. He steps closer, ignoring the stares of other travelers, ignoring everything except her. But I'm done hiding. So, what are you doing here? Asking the only woman who ever told me the truth. He pauses, heart thundering. To stay. Tears slip down her cheeks. You know what they'll say, what they'll do. The board, your family, the media. I don't care. Your company can survive without me, or I'll build a new one. But I can't. His voice breaks slightly, truth spilling out unfiltered. I can't do this life anymore without you in it. That's not fair. No, it's honest. And isn't that what you wanted? For me to be honest? The train pulls into the station, brakes hissing, doors opening. The future she planned sliding into place with mechanical precision. Amara looks at her suitcase, at the train, at him standing there with his heart exposed, offering her everything and nothing all at once. If I stay, she says slowly, this won't be easy. Nothing worth having is. Your family will hate me. They'll come around. The media will destroy us. Let them try. She laughs through her tears, the sound breaking and beautiful. You make it sound simple. It's not, but it's real. And isn't that what we both wanted? Something real? The announcement echoes overhead. Last call for New York. Doors begin to close. People rush forward. Amara stands there, torn between safety and truth, between the life she knows and the one she wants. Then Jehun takes her hand, not demanding, just offering, his palm warm against hers, steady despite the trembling she can feel beneath his skin. Stay, he whispers. Please. The doors close with a definitive hiss. The train pulls away, carrying that future into the distance. She looks at him, really looks, at the man behind the mask, the human beneath the title, the messy, imperfect reality of him choosing her over everything he's ever known. and she steps back from the platform. Jehun exhales, grip tightening on her hand like she might still disappear. Like this might still be a dream he'll wake from alone. I hope you know what you're doing, she says. I don't, but I know what I'm not doing anymore. He pulls her closer. I'm not running. I'm not hiding. And I'm not letting you go. She leans into him, forehead against his chest, listening to his heart pound its frantic rhythm. This is insane. Completely. We might fail. Probably. But he tilts her chin up, eyes meeting hers with something she's never seen before. Hope, raw and unguarded and terrifying in its honesty. But we'll fail together, and that's better than succeeding alone. Around them, Seoul rushes on. Trains arriving, trains departing. People chasing futures they may never catch. But they stand still, hands intertwined, choosing the present over every careful plan, choosing each other. They walk through the city as evening falls. No destination, no plan, just moving through Seoul like two ordinary people learning how to exist outside the roles they played. They pass his building, glass and steel reaching for the sky, like a monument to everything he's walking away from. Do you regret it? She asks. Which part? Any of it. He considers, really considers, turning the question over like a stone to examine every angle. No. Do you? Ask me in a year. He laughs, real unguarded, the sound making people turn because they've never heard Jehun Lee laugh like that. Like joy isn't a performance, but a surprise. They walk until they reach the Han River. The water reflects city lights like scattered stars, and rain threatens again from clouds heavy and low. What happens now? She asks. I don't know. Maybe I step down from the CEO position. Maybe I start something new. Maybe you stop planning for once. He looks at her, surprised by the simple truth of it. You've spent your whole life 10 steps ahead, she continues softly. Every move calculated, every risk measured, every moment controlled. What if you just lived? I don't know how. Learn. He pulls her closer, arm around her shoulders. She fits against him like she was designed for the space beside him. And for the first time in longer than he can remember, the future doesn't feel like a cage. Teach me, he whispers. It'll take time. I have time now. For the first time in my life, I actually have time. They stand there as the first drops of rain begin to fall, not running for cover, not rushing to the next obligation, just standing in the moment, breathing together, being. Behind them, the city glows, endless, demanding, beautiful in its indifference. Ahead, the river flows, patient, constant, knowing all rivers eventually reach the sea. And between the two, they exist. Messy, uncertain, real. Days turn into weeks, and the world doesn't end. The scandal doesn't die, but it transforms. Some investors pull out. Others, younger and more progressive, move in. The board removes him as CEO. But he expected that. What he didn't expect. The freedom. Jehun starts something new. A consultancy, small and agile. No towers, no empires. Just good work. Honest work. Helping companies navigate the space between tradition and change. It's smaller than what he had, but it's his in a way Lee Enterprises never was. His mother still won't speak to him. His father sends brief, formal emails that hurt more than silence. But he's learning to live with that too. Learning that love shouldn't feel like obligation. That family can be chosen as well as born. Amara stays at the company. Her contract, her choice. She refuses special treatment, refuses to hide in his shadow or apologize for existing. When people whisper, she meets their eyes. When they judge, she works harder. And slowly, grudgingly, they respect her for it. One evening, They meet on the same rooftop, where everything changed. The rain has finally stopped. Soul sparkles below, washed clean and glittering like a promise half kept. I got an offer today. Amara says. His heart stops. From where? London, head of global marketing for a major firm. 6-figure salary. Everything I've been working toward. That's incredible. Silence, heavy with possibility and fear. Are you taking it? He asks quietly, and even in his own ears, the question sounds like begging. She turns to face him. Should I? I won't ask you to stay. I won't be the reason you give up your dreams. What if you're part of my dreams now? The words settle between them like a vow. Then we figured out, he says. Long distance, relocation, whatever it takes. But I won't hold you back. I won't be another cage. She smiles, and it reaches her eyes this time. Really reaches them. What if I don't want London? What do you want? This. You. Soul. Building something here that's mine, not just surviving but thriving. She pauses, and maybe seeing where this goes. This. She gestures between them. Us. Whatever we're becoming. He pulls her close, forehead against hers, breathing her in like oxygen. We're becoming real. Yeah, she whispers. We are. They stand there as the city breathes below. Two people who chose each other over empires. Truth over perfection. Love over legacy. It won't be easy. The road ahead is uncertain, filled with challenges they can't predict and obstacles they'll have to face together. But they'll walk it side by side. And that Jehun realizes is the only empire worth building, not the one made of glass and steel and shareholder meetings. The one built on honesty and choice and the terrifying, exhilarating freedom of being seen. The one where he gets to be human. The one where he gets to love and be loved without conditions or cages or carefully constructed masks. In the distance, Seoul glitters eternal. Behind them, their reflections appear in the glass doors, two silhouettes intertwined against the city lights. In the reflection, everything looks possible. In the flesh, they're just two people learning how to be brave enough to be real. And sometimes that's the greatest love story of all. Not the perfect one, the honest one, the one that costs everything and gives back something priceless. The freedom to choose yourself while choosing each other. Thanks for watching till the end. Should Jehun and Amara risk everything for love, or will his empire pull them apart? Comment your thoughts, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss episode 2, where the Real test begins.